you ever wonder where the money actually goes once you cross a million? Like, what does it really look like on paper? Is it all in stocks or real estate or just sitting somewhere in a savings account collecting dust? Well, that's what I'm breaking down today. My real net worth as of 2025. How it's spread across different real estate, investments, business, and even cash. And really what's working for me right now in the real world, not theory. And I'll tell you something. The way that I manage my money now looks completely different from when I first started. It's not about chasing growth anymore. It's really about leverage, structure, and a little bit of peace of mind. So let's get into it. All right, when I first hit that number, I didn't feel richer. I just felt more responsible. You realize quickly that having money and managing money are two totally different skills. Early on, I was focused on making it. Now, it's really become more about protecting it and using it for better and making sure that it works even when I'm not. And the mindset shift is real. You stop asking, well, how do I make more? And really start asking, how do I make this run smoother? So it's really less about hustling and more about building systems that give you your time back. Okay, so here's a breakdown. Rounded to a clean 100%. 45% is in real estate. The other 40% is in investments. 5% is in cash. The other 5% is in business and content. And the rest, remaining 5%, is in other assets, with each playing a different role. And altogether, they balance growth, safety, and sanity for me. Okay, let's break it down. Real estate. So real estate makes up the biggest share, about 45%, give or take. I would say mostly between my home and rentals. When I first started, I thought about owning property, and what that meant is passive income. That's kind of funny because it's really managed chaos. Some months, everything runs fine and it's smooth, and then out of nowhere, you have something where something breaks or rent's late or taxes go up crazy. But here's what makes real estate different. I'd say control, right? Unlike the stock market, you can actually influence outcomes, which is great. You can improve, refinance, reposition, and that control, right, is what builds real wealth over time. And the key, though, is structure. Real estate rewards discipline, not emotion. And when I treated it like an investment business, right, we're talking reserves, setting aside reserves, maintenance planned, numbers tracked, it started working for me instead of me stressing out every single day. So if I were to start again, I'd still buy property very early on. I just do it with less emotions involved, more systems, and hopefully a bigger buffer when I first get started. Next, investments make up about 40%. It's the quiet engine that builds over time, personally. About a quarter sits in retirement accounts that I don't really touch. I'm talking long-term, slow, and compounding. And the rest is liquid. Think index funds, ETFs, and a few individual stocks that I actually understand. Here's the thing. I used to automate everything and never check, which some people swear by it, some don't. But now I do monthly reviews, not to time the market more or less, but to stay aware of what's happening. So I think of it this way. It's like maintaining a car, right? You don't need to rebuild the engine, but just really check the oil. So my portfolio is mostly index-based, broad market, low fees, minimal drama, which I love. I like having some exposure to tech and infrastructure because that's what I know personally, but I don't really gamble on the hype. The biggest change was realizing I don't need to do a whole bunch. Time does the work if you leave it alone. The people who win long-term aren't the smartest. I'll tell you, they're the most patient. Okay, cash. Cash sits at about 5%. It's fairly small, but it's very crucial. It's not for investing. It's really for breathing. I use it for home repairs, surprise expenses, slow months. That buffer keeps life really calm for me. I used to hoard cash because it made me feel very safe. And now I just keep enough to stay comfortable. Then put the rest to work. Too much cash gets eaten by inflation, and too little creates big stress. So think about it as balancing which matters the most more than the number itself. For me, cash doesn't build wealth, it protects my peace of mind, which is really helpful. The other piece is business and content, which makes up 5%. This slice is where the creativity lives, but it's the most dynamic part. It includes things like what I create, partnerships that I build, small projects here and there that might grow into something bigger. So this category doesn't move in a straight line like stocks or real estate. And one idea can flop, another can multiply. That's what makes it very interesting for me. It's also what keeps me learning, which is really cool. Because when you build your own thing, you're investing in yourself. This part isn't about quick returns. It's really about creating something with no ceiling. And the last 5%, other assets. I'm talking gear, car, tech, the stuff that supports my work and life. I would say none of it is really investment value, but they're tools that help everything else function. I've learned to keep this part very lean, by quality, not quantity, and the less clutter, the clearer in my head. And clarity, I would say, is super underrated. After crossing 1 million, the goals shifted. Before, it was all about growth. Now, it's more about optimization. I want my money organized, my systems simple, and my time free. I used to say yes to every single thing, every idea, every maybe. Now, I say no a lot more often. It's not about chasing opportunities. It's really about protecting that bandwidth. And honestly, that's the real upgrade after 7 figures. Not luxury or freedom, but peace. Less noise, but more focus. So, what's next? Building out the business and content side, the creative stuff that I actually enjoy, adding more flexibility, investing in things that give me time, not taking it, and refining systems so money flows without chaos. I'm not chasing more anymore, I'm chasing better. So that's a wrap. That's my real world breakdown. Not the story of how I got here, but how I manage it today. And if you're earlier in your journey, maybe saving your first 10K or aiming your first 100K, that's where the real lessons start. Focus on systems, not status, because when you get there, the habits matter way more than the number. And in my next video, I'll break down how I invested my first 1,000 and how I would do it again, which is the step that started all of this. So stick around, hit subscribe, and keep building smarter, not just bigger.